Welcome to this very special edition of LinkedIn Live, where we're going to be talking about 3 steps to find a job that will make you excited about waking up. This is the path that I went through 5 years ago when I was quite miserable in my career for many years, although I couldn't identify why. And also the process I've taken my clients through. Stay until the end for a special Halloween surprise. So, to kick this off, I'd like to share with you a story. Um, One of my clients that I worked with earlier this year was a senior director in marketing at a medical device company. She had been there for many, many years. When she hired me, she had hit burnout and beyond. In addition, she had been quite unhappy in her role for a long time, probably for the past 5 years. So being unhappy in her role in combination with the burnout got her to a really critical point where she was even having trouble functioning. Now, at this point, when clients come to me, sometimes I will recommend out for a psychiatrist. I knew this individual from the past, and so I knew that she just needed a little bit of tweaking to get her back to the high performing individual that I had seen her be before, that was not very natural for her. So she hired me. We started working together. The very first thing that we did together was to optimize her energy. She had been in such a bad place for so long, given the mismatch at her job. And then in addition to that, you compound everything that she'd been through the pandemic. She had 2 young kids who were now at home while she was trying to run a very high-paced marketing organization, and she had 0 time for herself and had completely depleted herself. So we got her back to a place where she had the energy now to answer the question of what she wanted to do next, and back to a place of feeling really good and confident and being able to access that inner side of her that had just completely disappeared during the pandemic. Once we got her to a good place, optimized her energy, we then went into answering what it is that she wanted to do. Now, this is quite revealing when I work with clients because some people will go a completely different direction, and it's not unusual for the pendulum to swing pretty far because they really dislike what they're doing. For her, what we found was she was actually pretty close to already doing thing she wanted to do, the thing that she really enjoyed, the thing that catered to her strengths. What was missing, though, is she was in the wrong company. It was really clear as we went through this exercise that she needed to find a new company. As soon as she had that clarity, she started strategically networking. And within 2 months, she had an offer from a new company, with a new med device company, working on a product she was really passionate about. It had a promotion from executive director to VP and a raise associated with it. And in addition, it gave her that work life balance that she was looking for, while she also sat at the strategic decision making table and was in board meetings presenting. Win, win, win all around. I've just checked in with her about 6 months after our coaching wrapped up, and she is so happy and doing great in her new role and feels like a brand new woman. So if you're just joining us, welcome. We're going to be talking about the 3 steps to find a job that will make you excited about waking up. You absolutely can do what my client did. I have no doubt in my mind that if you are tuning into this, that you have the capability within you to make the change that will lead to a job that leads you happier, making greater impact, and with higher earning potential. My name is Amy Sanchez. I'm an executive career and leadership coach. I've been doing this for about 5 years. I also went through my own personal transformation. Prior to this, I spent 13 years in sales and marketing, working for big companies like Eli Lilly and Johnson, smaller startups. And it wasn't until literally the universe hit me over the head that I realized that I was meant to be doing something else. And if you've tuned in with me, you know what that story is. Today, I want to focus on you and what your needs are. I did something that I've never done before with this LinkedIn. Really went back and reflected on the journey that I went through when I transitioned from marketing into coaching and found the career that had been calling me for a long time. I also reflected on the process that I've taken almost 100 corporate clients through, corporate leaders, to help them find jobs that led to greater happiness, impact, and earning potential. And I put it together in really bite-sized pieces. So if you're thinking, yes, I am tired of waking up and dreading the day ahead, if you're tired of chugging excessive wine at night just to cope and get through your day because what's happening at work just doesn't light you up the way that it used to, and you have this itch, you have this need, you know deep down inside of you that there's something better for you out there, these 3 steps are going to help you think about where to get started. Now, I see a lot of people who are unhappy in their careers going straight to the job boards, searching LinkedIn, searching Monster, searching Career Builder, and that just leads to deeper depression and also loss of hope. Why? Because it's like searching for a needle in the haystack. If you don't yet know what you're looking for, hitting the job boards is going to be a complete waste of your time and it's going to not put you in a very good place. So hold off before you do that. Here's where I want you to start. I'm going to share my screen for a moment because I've created a resource to help you with this. The very first thing that I want you to do is slow down. Now, why? You might be asking me why, because, hey, Amy, I have been taught that in order to get things done and make a change, that I need to get to work. I need to get out. I need to network. I need to hit the ground running. I need to make things happen. This is completely counterintuitive to what we've been taught in school and in our careers. The reason that I want you to start here is because you're not just looking for a job. You're looking for a job that's going to make you happy. And in order to find that, the first thing that's really important to do is determine what it is that makes you happy. This is different for everybody. For some people, what makes them happy is around getting promoted and making money and um, having a stronger strategic voice. Oftentimes, as people ascend in their career and get to the point where they are at the strategic decision making table, they are making the money, they find that their needs slightly shift. And these are the clients that I tend to work with. If you're in your mid 30s, 40s, 50s, as you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as we continue to satisfy the needs at the bottom of the pyramid, now we start to get into needs like, I want to make a greater impact on the world. Perhaps, I want a better work-life balance. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to enjoy activities outside of work. And right now I'm buried and I can't do that in my current role. What I really encourage you to do, if that's where you are, if that's what you're feeling, is take some time, literally and figuratively, to step away. Now, if you haven't taken an extended vacation in a while, that is a really good place to start. That's kind of your low hanging fruit. Take extended time off. And what I mean by that is a week off of work. Get out of your home environment if you haven't been able to do that during COVID, and go somewhere that's going to allow you to really tune out, get away from your emails, get away from all the demands, and focus on you. That's probably something that you haven't been able to do in quite some time because you're serving so many people around you. So take some time to step away, to clear your head, because I guarantee, and this has happened to me, this happens to every single client that allows it, there are messages that the universe is sending you about what you're meant to do. But you can't receive those messages when you're knee deep in emails and meetings and chats every day. You just don't have the mental capacity for it. There is a reason why when we take walks or we get in the shower, that's when we have aha moments. So let's allow a little bit more time and space for those aha moments to happen. So that's the very first place to start, is to slow down. Now, after you slow down, what is next? I'm going to share another story about a client who was able to do this. She came to me when she was working at a law firm, and she was moving up in the law firm, um, and she was focusing on employment law. And what she saw was a lot of people who came to her firm who needed employment help, but just couldn't afford the high services that her firm was charging. In addition, the demands that she was receiving at the law firm just didn't allow her to honor the priorities in her life as much as she wanted to. She had 2 young kids. She wanted to spend more time with them. But she had this immense guilt about leaving the law firm, and this fear on what was on the other side of it. After we worked together, she created this time and space. She was able to ask some of these questions that I'm going to share with you in just a moment and realize that what she was being called to do was actually start her own law firm. She liked the work she was doing. She just wanted it to be more accessible to the common person by offering a lower fee. And she also wanted that flexibility that building her own business gave her. Now she's doing well. She's kicked off her own business. She kicked it off about 9 months ago. She's doing great building her business, her own private law firm, and she's got the flexibility that she needs. So, yes, this can work for you. So, what are the questions that you should be asking yourself? And by the way, if any of you have questions that I can answer during this, please type them in the chat. I want to make sure that you get everything and anything that you need to get this journey started for you. The next step of this journey is to dig deep. Once you've decided to give yourself permission to pause on the job hunt and surfing the internet, and you create this time and space to get to know yourself better, your journey to uncover what you really want to do with your career can begin. Now, a great way to enable this to happen is to find a place where you come alive. For some people, this is getting out into nature. For some people, this is going back to a place that's really dear to them from childhood. Getting to a place where you feel creative, where you feel powerful, where you feel unencumbered. Try to find a time and space for that. And if you're like me and you have two small children and you can't jump on a plane and go to that place that you have in your head, don't worry. I'm with you. I understand. Just find a peaceful place around the area where you live and start to ask yourself these questions. What activities do I enjoy most at work and outside of work? What activities do I enjoy least outside at work and outside of work? What are the things that really speak to you? What are the things that light you up? Think about your energy level. I had a client who recently did an exercise where she gauged not only her excitement about each activity at work, but how engaged she became. So she could really hone in on what the activities were that she wanted to fill her next job with. What are my top values that I need to honor in my next career transition? Oftentimes, you're in a space where you're doing the work that you like, but you're not in an environment that allows you to honor your top values. So, let's get really clear on what your top values are. If I won the lottery, how would I spend my days and why? If you weren't having to bring home a paycheck, how would you choose to fill your days? What are my strengths? And matter what are my weaknesses? We shy away from that word weaknesses in the workplace, but I want you to be real honest. Everybody has weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? What are the activities that just drain you when you do them? Um, and if you have trouble answering these questions about what your strengths are, and I often find really high achieving people do, particularly when they've been in this space for so long where they're just drained and unhappy, reach out to some colleagues and friends and ask them what your strengths are. I also have a strength finders exercise that's really effective that you can, an assessment that you can take that helps you understand what your top strengths are. What are the must haves in my next role? And what are the must not haves in my next role? Be selfish. This is your chance to build your future. And just imagine somebody waves a magic wand, or looks into a crystal ball, and they can create the ideal job for you. What does that encompass? What are the must haves? What are the must not haves? What does an ideal job look like for you? Now, this is really effective. I encourage my clients to access a slightly different part of their brain by doing this via a visioning exercise. When you think of this, when you envision your ideal work atmosphere, what are the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, the touchable items around you? Really dig into all of the different senses that you have access to. As corporate leaders, we so often just rely on our cognitive abilities. I really encourage you to start exercising different muscles and let these other parts of your body give you insights that your cognitive mind just hasn't enabled you to uncover because it's been so weighed down for so long. So open up these other parts of you. After you've gone through these 9 questions, then compile a short list of professions that appeal to you. It's so interesting. I've done this with so many clients, and I often find that when we hit this step about halfway through the journey, the job that they end up in that increases their happiness, their impact, and their earning potential 10 times out of 10 is on this short list. So it's likely that intuitively you already know what you're being called to. You already know the job that's really going to light you up, that's really going to cater to your strengths, that's really going to change your life in a number of wonderful ways. It's just a matter of giving yourself permission to put that out into the universe on paper, talk to a friend. Now, think about this. Some people have different ways that they like to think through these questions. Some people like to journal privately and write this down. I have one client who likes to talk this through. So she's got a trusted friend that she calls and she talks through all the questions that we pose at the end of coaching sessions. And that's what really unlocks her. So, whatever works for you. But again, creating this time and space and asking yourself the right questions is an important piece of this. Are you ready for step number 3? Once you're feeling really confident and your energy level is back, you're honoring the needs of your mind, your soul, your body. You've answered these questions about what it is you're being called to do. This is where we go into implementation. And by the way, step 3 is often where people start and get stuck. But once you've been able to answer these questions, then believe in yourself and take action. What we want to ensure at this step, at this stage, is that the vision you have in your head of this ideal workplace that you've identified and that you created is the reality. This is where the strategic networking comes into play. 70 to 80% of jobs, especially at the executive level, are found through strategic networking. So at this point, start to talk to some of the people that have the jobs that you've identified as really motivating for you. Do informational interviews. A great way to do this is to look at your network. LinkedIn is a fantastic resource to help with this, and identify some people within your network, first or second connections, who you can send a note to, and in this note, just say, "Hey, my name is Amy Sanchez. I am on this personal journey to find a career, a really inspiring next career step for me. And I am really interested in what you're doing. I'd love to learn more about you and your journey to get where you are." People love to talk about themselves. So if you make this message about them and compliment them, they're going to feel more motivated to respond to you. So that is sort of the script that I would encourage you to use. Now, some people say, "Amy, my network is not very big," particularly people who have perhaps established their network overseas and then moved to the US for a job. Your network is larger than you might initially think, particularly for those of you who are 20, 25 years in your career, those corporate leaders that I tend to work with. Think about your neighbors. Think about your coworkers. Think about alumni from the universities that you've graduated from. Think about people who your friends or perhaps your partner could connect you with. Oftentimes, our network is much larger than we initially know. Think about the people, the parents of the kids the parents of the kids that your kids go to school with. There is very often, if you think through this, a lot of people that you can talk to who can share with you a little bit about their career. Now, when you're having these conversations, go back to your list of must haves and must not haves and check it to make sure that the career vision you have in your head really honors your list of must haves and your must not haves. Once you've had these conversations, you're gonna feel it. Now, you're gonna know it. This is again important why you're starting to tune into the messages that your body is sending you. The last time you made a really important decision and you just knew it was the right one instinctively? Now, if I asked you to reflect on that, there were probably a number of different things that were happening in your body that gave you that reassurance. There was also just that innate understanding that what I'm doing is the right thing. Look for that to show up again as you're having these conversations. You're going to know when you're on the right path. Secondary benefit to this is once you start to have these conversations and you're just exploratory at this point, just to confirm that your vision matches reality of the career that you're interested in. You've also started the networking and you're getting your foot in the door. And when you're in the right place, this is when this so often happens for my clients, your next job opportunity presents itself. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone with this step when you start the strategic networking. Now, when you know where you're meant to go with your career, this is when you can start your branding. And for those of you who are wondering, where is it that I get that document that you've been toggling to that has these 3 steps? Here's the website that you can navigate to find this document, swim-against.com/free. After you know what your target is, and now I come from a marketing background, so this is where my marketing uh, education and experience comes into handy. That's when you start to build your brand. You would never build a marketing campaign without knowing who your target consumer is. Just like you should never build your resume or your LinkedIn, your personal brand, until you know what your target is. That's why step 1 and 2, and then the beginning of step 3 are so important. Once you know what you're shooting for, what a really inspiring next step in your career is, then you're going to want to look at some roles, find roles that are really motivating for you online, pull 3 to 5 of those job descriptions, and then just highlight in each one of those job descriptions what some of the repeating words are, because you're going to find them. Analytical, collaborative, creative, outside of the box thinker, um, project management. There are going to be repeating words that you see. Identify those words. Those are the words that you pull into your LinkedIn profile, that you pull into your resume, and build your story around. Of course, you want to use the STAR methodology: situation, task, action, result. Don't tell them just what you've done, which I see so many people doing. I'm a great leader, and just, I built 10 campaigns, um, and I led a team of 10. That's great, but what did you achieve? What were your results that you were able to drive? People want to know that you're capable and able to drive results. So situation, task, action, result is the methodology that you're going to want to use on your resume, and then pull those keywords into your resume as well as your LinkedIn. Now, there's a lot more advice that I can give you on the resume and LinkedIn side. I'm going to save that for a future video, and you can find some also on my YouTube page if you go to Coach Amy Sanchez, or Amy Sanchez Coach. For now, just know getting your target and then building your LinkedIn brand using those keywords are what you're going to want to shoot for. And you can also hire people out. That's part of what I offer in one of my coaching packages, is that we can bring experts in to help you build the brand if you wanted to take that load off of your plate because you're busy. Once now you've built your brand, now you're starting to attract the opportunity to you, not only because you're putting it out there, literally on LinkedIn, but now you're also strategically networking. And just by putting that intention out, you're going to be talking about it. You're going to be sending out that desire. And what I see, this happened for me, this happened to every single one of my clients. Once you start putting out that intention, it comes to you. Now, think about the last time that you made a very large change, the cycle and the process that you went through. You probably were doing this without knowing you were doing it. Once you get really excited and fixated on something that you want so much, whether it be a person, or perhaps the partner that you decided to be with, or whether it be a job, or whether it be a school for your children, whatever the case may be, you, as a corporate leader and a high performer, have a habit and a past history of creating what you wanted and turning that into a reality. So, what we're doing is just starting to better understand what those steps are. And this is part of it, is really getting clear on your vision. And then that's where you start to do the implementing. You take the action, build your brand, strategically network to attract those opportunities to you. Now there's a lot more to this. Excuse me. There's not a lot more to this. These are the basics. This is the template to follow. So if you wanted to just take this free resource, that swim-against.com for /free, and start your journey on your own. I wish you all the best, and please, please, please keep me posted and let me know what you end up um, what you end up finding, what you end up landing in. Um, if you want a little bit more support along the way, I have been on this journey personally. I've taken over almost 100 corporate leaders from a place of just being lost, not knowing where they wanted to go to their career, taking them through my process that I've spent many years perfecting, and gotten them into a role that increased their happiness, their impact, and their earning potential. And by the way, I measure ROI based on level of fulfillment and in life and in career. That level of fulfillment goes up. You start to see things happen like promotions and new job opportunities because you're exuding an entirely new energy. So if this is something you're interested in and you want a guide along the way of somebody who knows exactly how to do this and where to take you, please apply for a discovery session at swim-against.com /discovery. I don't accept everybody, but I typically know if you're a right fit for my program when we chat, and I'll let you know when we have that conversation. It has been, oh, oh my gosh, what is that? Do you guys see that? Oh, what is happening in my office right now? There is suddenly all of this steam and all of this smoke. Holy crap. What what am I gonna do? You guys, this is kind of scary. Happy Halloween. I hope you have a great weekend. I look forward to